Hello, welcome everyone to day 2. So today we are going to discuss about the data types which are present in Python as a programming language, and there are different type of data types. So let's go through it once. So we have the text type, which is known as the string type. So the keyword is str. We have the numeric types, which is int, float, complex. Then we have the sequence types, list, tuple, range. Then the mapping type, which is dictionary, or in short form it's known as dict. Then we have the set types, set and frozen set. We have the boolean type, the keyword is bool. The binary types, we have bytes, byte array, memory view, and then we have the none types. These are the type of data types in Python. So in short, what are data types? Data types basically are the attributes which say that what kind of a data it is. Okay, it can be numbers, it can be textual, it can be something in a array, right? Some groupings of certain attributes. So these are the type of data types that are available in Python. Now one thing I want to share, so this is the notebook, and in any kind of IDE nowadays, any kind of notebook nowadays, the one thing that works the best is, so if you want to give the headings for any particular cell, you go here in text and you can just write down what you want to write. So over here I'll be writing data types, and this helps you to navigate through your notebook that what particular content is present and under what heading. And also to make it bold, either you can just do a star and star like this, or you can select this bold option from here as well, or italic. So if I just do an italic out of it, it's 3 stars at the beginning and at the end. So this is how my heading is going to look like. Okay, now how to check the table of contents. So over here you can check that what exactly the table of contents are through your entire notebook. Okay, all right. So now we'll define the type of the data type. Okay, so let's say in the variables chapter we have assigned a value of 5 to my variable x, and I want to find that what type of a data type it is. So I can directly just do a type keyword. So print the type of the variable that has assigned value as 5, and it's coming as an integer, right? So this is how you can use the type keyword to find the type of a data type. Now how do we set the data type? So over here you can see that these all, if we assign, like let's say hello world, which is a string basically, right? So this will automatically be assigned as a string, and then if we want to assign an integer, we give a number, and if we want to assign a float value, which basically means a decimal, so we give a decimal point and a number out of that. Then the complex type of data type, so the J part specifies that it's a complex data type. Now again, this is a list, which basically starts with a third bracket, ends with a third bracket. And this is a tuple, it starts with the first bracket, ends with the first bracket. We'll go into all of these details in the further chapters of this course. But for now, if we are assigning any values, we have to follow the protocol of what that kind of data type follows the syntax for, and then we have to assign it. Now if we want to specify a particular data type to a variable, for example, if I specify that, okay, I want the string of, I want the hello world, this thing as a string only. Anyway, this is going to come out as a string. But if you want to specifically set the data type, we can just use the keyword of the particular data type that we want in front of the values given. Okay. Now, there are 3 types of numeric types in Python. So first we have the integer, float and complex, and the variables of numeric types are created when we assign a value to them. For example, over here I have given x equal to 1, which means it's an integer. Then 2.8, as we know, it's a decimal number, so it's a float, and then the j part is there, so 1j, this means a complex number. Okay, now just going into a bit more details that how the integer values will be. So integer is basically a whole number, positive or negative, and without decimals, and it's of unlimited length. So over here it can be one length also, it can be a huge digit number also, it can be a negative number also. So if I run this cell over here, I will see that all of this 3 is coming as an integer only. Okay, now going to float. So we discussed earlier also, it's a decimal number, so it can be a positive number again, it can be a negative number again, but it will contain one or more decimal numbers. So if I run this one, I'll find the type as float number. And then a float can also be scientific numbers with an e to the indicate power of 10. So if I run this, I'll get it as float only. Okay. Now complex numbers. Complex numbers are written with a j as the imaginary part. This we must have learned in mathematics in 10th, 11th or 12th, that what are complex numbers, and mainly to fill in a matrix, right? So this j is the imaginary part, and if I want to again print the type of it, I want to find the type of it, it's a complex number. Okay, now we can explicitly do a type conversion. So what is a type conversion? We can convert from one type to another with the int, float and complex methods. So these are the keywords. Okay, now let's say I have x equal to 1, then y equal to 2.8 and z equal to 1j, and I want to convert from integer to float the value of x, right? So now it is a 1 when it's an integer, but when it's converted from integer to float, it will become a 1.0, right? So when I'm converting a equal to float of x, that means a should have the value of 1.0 over here. Okay. Okay, so then I'm converting y into an integer. I'm converting y into an integer and saving it in b. So y is a float already, which is 2.8, and when it converts to integer, that means it will only have the positive value to it, sorry, the whole number value to it, right? So b will have the value of a whole number, and then z is complex, so we are saving, I'm sorry, this is going to be z, so x only. So I'm basically converting x into a complex number and storing it in C. So let me run this cell and see that what we get. So A, B, C is basically 1, 2.8 and that. So A becomes 1.0 as stated here. Then float to integer, it becomes a 2, just removing the decimal number. And then x, when it's converted to a complex number, it becomes a 1 plus 0j. The j is the imaginary part which is added over here. And if we see the data types, it's a float, integer and complex. So this is how we can use this int, float and complex methods to explicitly typecast a particular variable into another data type. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can write it in the comments. Now one thing is there, that Python does not have a random function to make a random number. Okay, but Python has a built-in module called random that can be used to make random numbers. I'll tell you the importance of this when we build the project for this, but for now, if we import the random value and we print the range, that 1 to 10, so what it will do is from 1 to 10 it will display any random number. Okay, and when we are using the range, it basically will display the random number from 1 to 9, so minus 1 from the last number. Okay, if I run this, I think it just displayed a random number 6. So if I run this again, it will display a random number 2. Okay, so where this is required is, let's say if we are trying to create a game, right, a gaming application where for example Ludo. Okay, so when you roll the dice, you expect a random number to come up. So in that kind of applications where we are using Python as a programming language, this can be a use case where you just generate a random number. Okay. Now specifying a data type. So there may be times when you want to specify a particular data type onto a variable. So this can be done with casting. So we already discussed with an example how we can particularly explicitly cast a particular variable to another data type, and int, float or string. So over here we only explained the numbers data types thing, but we can also use other data types like string we can use, which will cast the particular variable to the string data type. Okay, so now for example, if we have this, but we already discussed, so one thing here is that we are specifically typecasting string 3 into an integer. So if I run this, and I will get z will be only 3, which is an integer basically. Okay, what I'll do is I'll print the type of z. So it's coming as an integer, okay, because I've typecasted it. Similarly, you can convert to float also. Again, you can convert a integer to string also, integer float, like a number to string also. So if I just print the type of x, okay, but it's already a string, so it won't make a difference. I'll just do the z1 and see, it will be a string, whereas it was a float at first. Okay, now in the next video we are going to talk about Python strings. So in this video we mainly talked about how numbers data types work in Python and how we can explicitly typecast from one data type to another data type. In the next chapter we'll specifically talk about strings and how we can play around with strings. Okay, so if you like this video, please leave a comment and follow me for more videos. Thank you.